On May 19, 2016, an Airbus A320 operating EgyptAir Flight 804 from Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport to Cairo International Airport disappeared from radar over the Mediterranean Sea with 66 people on board. Recordings recovered from the ocean floor later revealed chilling details. The overnight flight to Cairo was cruising over Greece at 11,300 meters altitude. In command was 36-year-old Mohammed Shoukair, recently promoted to captain, with 6,600 flight hours. The first officer, 25-year-old Mohammed Assem, had logged 2,900 hours, including 2,770 on the A320. EgyptAir is a state-owned airline, the largest carrier in Egypt and one of the top-rated in Africa. The Airbus A320 is a modern aircraft with fly-by-wire technology, known for its reliability in commercial aviation. There were 56 passengers from various countries on board. The flight was only half full. Flight 804 had been airborne for 2.5 hours when the captain contacted air traffic control to report flight data. He was instructed to maintain flight level 370 and continue on course. As the plane exited Greek airspace, Greek controllers handed it off to Egyptian ATC, but the pilots did not respond. The controller repeated the call and waited. Still, there was no reply. Moments later, Flight 804 vanished from radar. Time passed, but no communication came through. Flight 804 never arrived in Cairo. By morning, Egyptian, French, and Greek naval and air forces launched search operations north of Egypt's coast. A satellite detected an oil slick on the sea surface, suggesting the possible crash site. However, the water was 3,000 meters deep, requiring specialized equipment and expert divers. Investigators used radar and satellite data to reconstruct the aircraft's final trajectory. After a sharp left turn, the plane entered a spiral descent and plunged into the sea. Such a spiral descent typically indicates the aircraft was uncontrolled, with autopilot disengaged. After 2 weeks of underwater search, experts recovered wreckage. The flight data recorder FDR and the cockpit voice recorder CVR, crucial evidence in the investigation. Analysis of the wreckage showed that the aircraft broke apart upon water impact, not in midair. Yet no distress call was made by the pilots. The Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, ACARS, had transmitted short automated messages to ground control via satellite. It was discovered that 3 hours and 17 minutes into the flight, pilots received several warnings. The first 2 messages indicated a fault in the right windshield heating system. A third alert reported smoke in the lavatory and the electronics bay. Just 2 minutes later, the flight control system that manages the spoilers and elevator failed, explaining the spiral descent. All ACARS messages sent in the minutes before the crash point to one critical issue: a fire in the front section of the aircraft. A fire mid-flight is one of the most dangerous emergencies, as it can rapidly spread and damage key systems. Listening to the cockpit voice recordings, investigators heard a strange hissing noise, possibly from an oxygen mask. Improperly stored masks can leak, and the closest one was behind the co-pilot's seat on the right. In an oxygen-rich environment, the risk of ignition increases dramatically, and the consequences can be catastrophic. However, what exactly caused the initial spark remained unclear. Smoking was banned on most airlines, but EgyptAir permitted smoking only in the cockpit. While this raised suspicions, the cockpit ashtrays had recently been replaced, and neither pilot was a smoker. Additionally, the idea that an oxygen mask could flood the entire cockpit with oxygen was deemed unlikely. Even at high flow, one mask wouldn't release enough to saturate the whole cabin. Another theory focused on faulty wiring, which may have caused the fire. The pilots detected smoke but couldn't determine the exact location of the flames. As the smoke intensified, breathing became increasingly difficult. The pilots followed standard smoke procedures, trying to isolate the source. In emergency power mode, most onboard systems were shut down, leaving only basic flight controls. The fire likely spread to the passenger cabin, and as the crew struggled to save the plane, the cockpit was engulfed in flames. Whether EgyptAir or Airbus were at fault was never officially confirmed. The investigation never reached a final conclusion about the cause of the crash. No design changes were made to the A320 as a result of this tragedy.